What's up, everyone? Let's take a look at the stock indices and Bitcoin. Also, we're going to take a look at gold. There's some important things you have to consider. Tomorrow is the CPI data, the inflation data, and it's already being talked on the street that the number is going to be coming in hot, meaning it's going to be bad. And one thing we know for sure, though, the market has been consolidating, and doing a pullback for the last month or so since June, right? We sold off early June. Now we had a pullback into the channel top, and now we're stuck. So tomorrow's CPI, no matter what the print is, the most important thing you should do as a trader is follow the price. Price is king, and uh, there might be scenarios where we're going to have a hot CPI data and the markets might rally, and it just as equally can go down. Obviously, if it's really bad and high CPI, I think uh, markets will be selling off. That's the probability that I think will happen. But again, what we think as traders might happen is completely irrelevant, and what we should be paying attention to is the price action. So obviously, we are in this downtrend channel. We've sold off from moving average cloud before. We are at this moving average cloud again. We've hit 50% retracement in S&P 500, and Nasdaq is showing similar structure, but even weaker. As you can see, we've in Nasdaq we're pretty much in this range right now, stuck between 12,200 and let's say 1,000 points lower. So we're smack in the middle of this range. So tomorrow's print, I think, finally will and look at the volume. This is the volume. Do you see this volume? You can't see this volume. The reason why you can't see this volume because there is no volume. And same thing with SPX, right? With the S&P 500. So tomorrow is going to be paramount, whenever you watch this video, even after the fact. So, which will be useful for you to see how it's not really the news that matter, but the price. But the price leads the way, right? The price will show you what it wants to do, what the smart money are, how they are perceiving the information and how it's discounting the information that is gonna come out. So, with all that said and done, I want to show you the most important thing, uh, the most important chart that you should pay attention to. So, let's do Nasdaq. So, earlier in spring, I made this post saying that targets coming, 10,000 and a half to 10,000 coming this summer near you. Why? Well, because if you measure this head and shoulders, this is where it falls. Incidentally, it falls exactly as pre-COVID high. So let me explain why I think that's going to be at least this is the target we're going to. I don't think we might have a rally, et cetera, et cetera. But I think this sell-off is still not done. Why? Well, because Fed is literally every single chance it gets tells you that we're going to be ultra aggressive. We're going to be ultra aggressive. We're going to be ultra aggressive. Don't fight the Fed. People who were trying to short this market when it was rallying like mad because it was, oh my God, Tesla is at whatever, $1,800, $2,000, blah, 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 right? All these stocks are out of control. The PE ratios, the earnings, price to earnings is insane. And they were absolutely right, but the price was still moving up. And that's what screws up a lot of traders. You might be right, but you're not going to stay liquid long enough for you to be proven right. Right? Markets can stay irrational longer than you can stay liquid. I mean, that's a Warren Buffett phrase. So, with the Fed basically literally saying, listen here, Jack, we don't care about the stock. Usually, what happened was before this high inflation, Fed would be concerned about the US stock market and would prop it up. But now they have a choice. Do we save the stock market or we save pretty much the whole economy and the middle class. Because without middle class, this whole thing, you're gonna kill the golden goose. So because stock market rallied so much in just 2 years, from COVID lows, right? Just under 2 years, this thing rallied so much. They figured, listen, these motherfuckers made a lot of money. All right, to put it bluntly, they can hold off. People, I'm talking about people who derive their net worth from stock holdings and investments. These people are doing okay. But when you have a 10-20% real inflation is about 20%, when you have a 20% inflation, the little guy that they usually squeeze for the pennies, he's completely he's on life support at this point. So if they're gonna unleash this uncontrollable beast, which is an inflation, they might have a much bigger problem than to worry about the stock market. So they're choosing and they're signaling to everybody who has a brain, hey, listen, but we're gonna drop this motherfucker. So the to tame the inflation, because we fucked up, we printed way too much money, we need to take it out of the system. And to take it out of the system, I think the bare minimum target would be at least the pre-COVID high, because they printed 5-6 trillion dollars here. They want to take money out of the system to tame the inflation. So I think a reasonable expectation for a market low, or at least first stop, major stop, should be this high. Now, as I'm pointing out again, this Head and Shoulders targets this the previous all-time high. We did exactly the same thing with Bitcoin, for crying out loud. Bitcoin retested its 2017 high and went below it. So why? And Bitcoin is like Nasdaq on steroids. That's all it is. So I think that retesting this is in the cards, maybe even lower, but at least here. So even if you see relief rallies and you happen to catch them, because this is a weekly chart, by the way. If you catch a few days, if we rally and we take out these highs here and we tap the channel high and then we roll over, Mazel tov, that's a great trade. Obviously, again, we're gonna see it by the price action. If we start breaking out tomorrow on the news, we have a bullish close, then a follow through, blah blah blah. By all means, trade that. But once we get to some heavy resistance, watch out. I don't think that this sell-off is still over. And obviously, if we're gonna start just selling aggressively tomorrow, because they are deleveraging the market and they're not done. So you see, there was the initial sell off that was going on in the right here, the volume. Now the volume dropped. This is the calm before the storm. And we're gonna see some explosive price action coming to the theaters near you. And this is what usually happens, because the activity dropped. Everybody's kind of sitting, waiting. It's the Mexican standoff, you know. So everybody's looking at each other and seeing who's gonna make the first move. And the only arbiter of this situation is the price action. The price action will show us where the fuck this whole thing is headed to, and all we gotta do is just follow what the price is doing. That's it. Don't overcomplicate it. They're literally again telling you that this we are taking money out of the system because we fucked up, and we need to save. We need to kill the monster, which is inflation. Because if they unleash inflation, it's a motherfucker to put that genie back in a bottle, right? So they don't want to unleash it. They can live with a temporary setback in stock market, and once they kill the inflation, they bring it down to their reasonable, whatever they call 2%. It's never 2%, it's always higher, but whatever. But it's not 20. Once they accomplish that goal, they'll start printing again. Not as much, but little by little, and the prices will recover, and they know it, and they're not worried that for the next 2 years or something, the stock market will lose again. We haven't even hit the 2020 all time high, and we're all crying and bitching and moaning. Oh my God, the world has ended. Nothing has ended. We haven't even reached the prices that we were 2 years ago at the all time high prior to the COVID crash. Do you see how ridiculous this is? All these talking heads talking on CNBC or YouTube or whatever. So they are literally saying we're gonna drive this thing down in order to save. We're gonna sacrifice a little bit of stock market to save the day with inflation, right? To kill the inflation. So this thing has more long term. We still have more room to run. Short term, we follow the price action. There is nothing going on right now. We've been consolidating. We are at the apex of this consolidation. As you can see, this trend line up as a resistance, and the rising, if you whatever bear flag trend line is providing support. So whatever, however it breaks, that's how we're gonna trade it. Doesn't matter to me, honestly. Um, Obviously, also, it looks like it still needs to go down, and the trend is down. So don't pick the bottoms, and I think the rallies will be still be offered because with everything that's going on, the picture is not improving fundamentally yet. There hasn't been a turnaround. Plus, I think when you see a real bottom, you're gonna have a huge spike in volume. You're gonna have one of the kind of like when it bottomed here. You see this uh, bottom here, and then volume dropped and kind of had a pullback. I think once you have the flush out, that's when you're going to see high volume. This is not a bottom. This is not a bottom volume. This volume is not a bottom volume. You're going to see a flush out and then the turnaround. This is just inactivity, summer inactivity where everybody's sitting on the sidelines and waiting, awaiting the what to do next. Do we sell, get out of? Do we take out even more stocks and from our portfolios, uh, or we keep it as is because the inflation has peaked, so to speak, right? So they're just watching, and this print. That's why this print tomorrow is going to be paramount, and watching the price action is what's going to make you money. Let's hop on Bitcoin briefly since I've been yapping. Oh, looky here. Bitcoin is actually took out the trend line low here. Nice. I think we were short. Anyway, yeah, I posted that we should with the short position for our algo, and obviously we're just taking out this trend line. So if we start closing below 19,000, that's bad news. I think this hasn't bottomed either, and you should be selling rallies in Bitcoin if you're a short-term trader. You can obviously, if you're hodling 5 years out, put 10% in right now and put 10% at 15 and 10% at 10, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, little by little. And gold has been absolutely the canary in the mine. It's sold off. This is for our, let's take a look at daily. It finally took out the support, this head and shoulders, and it looks like it's headed to the support around 1680, which everybody is looking at. And I think the reason why it's selling off is obviously because uh, the rising interest rates propping up the dollar. And since gold is not a yield producing commodity instrument, it's competing with the yield producing instrument, which is the US dollar, which is yielding more. So that's why they're buying dollars, selling gold. And the more rates they need to raise, the more gold will need to vol, so to speak. Unless we get out of control CPI print, at which point I think people will start buying gold as safe haven, which hasn't happened, obviously. So we'll see. We'll see. Gold has been a pain in the ass to deal with. But stocks and US dollar pretty clear. US dollar has been on a tear. Obviously, as you heard, the euro hit parity earlier today. I traded a little bit to the upside, but this is obviously, you can look at this daily candle spinning top right at parity. So we'll see. Dollar is obviously very overextended, overbought, going parabolic vertical. So I don't know how much longer we will sustain this, because this is just getting very aggressive. So maybe a little more, and then one of these things. We'll see. Obviously, we're already getting divergences and a whole lot of good stuff happening, pointing to that this might be overcooked. But with all that said and done, again, it all depends on the inflation and the interest rates, and what the data will come out tomorrow. And we're just going to follow the price based on that. All right. Hope this little rant helped. As always, stop by our free Telegram group. Link is in the description. If you like this content, please like, subscribe. We appreciate it. And I'll see you next time.